Hey, hey, hey. Happy early edition of Growth and Grace. Normally, you guys know I do these Thursday mornings at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, and I'm off tomorrow, which means no video is going to happen. So I'm doing it early, which means tonight. So happy early edition, Growth and Grace. I'm so excited for tonight's topic. You guys also are going to get to learn one of my favorite words, if not my favorite word in all the world. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Hey, Beth, Amy, Cub. Oh, Cub, I miss you. I love you, man. So good. Michelle, hi, everyone. Hi, hey, you guys. Oh, my heart is just like so happy right now. Also so happy because one of my best friends is getting back from deployment, and I'm so pumped for him to be back. So all the great things. But you guys, this topic is particularly special to my heart. Straight hair there. Because I can be really clumsy, and so things break a lot around me. And I say that, oh, Cub, okay, it was great to see you, bye. Hey, Amy, Michelle, hi, everybody. I sometimes feel like things break a lot around me, and it's not like bad luck, and I'm not upset about it, or like, oh, woe is my life, everything breaks. It's just funny when you notice, like, interesting, that's broke. And I was around. What's the common denominator? So knowing that, you can imagine when I tell you what my favorite word is, why I love it so much and why it's so beautiful when things break. So here's the thing. When I mean things break, I mean, like, of course, glass things, like breakable things, bones. If you guys didn't watch my Miracle Broken Toe story from a few months ago, go back and watch it. Bones break, but they can be miraculously healed too. So there's that. Hearts can break. If you've ever experienced a broken heart, it sucks, but it also can be just an incredible blessing in disguise when you choose to see the lessons from it and you choose to like grow through it and not let it be the weight that holds you down. So, okay, are you ready? I'm going to share my favorite word because it's so lovely. It's a Japanese word, which I just got to be real. I think the Japanese language has some of the most beautiful words out of all the languages ever. There's so many. I feel like every time I hear a word, the meaning and the depth to it, I'm like, well, of course it's a Japanese word. It's so lovely. So if you don't study Japanese, which I don't, but go look at some of the words. They're just beautiful. And they also have this tradition called forest bathing, where you just go and you just soak in walking in the forest. Come on, that's amazing. And especially in this tech-centric world, and where it's busy, 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 it's really nice to just go escape and enjoy nature, enjoy creation, right? Okay, so that said, the suspense has been building. I'm going to tell you my favorite word because it really ties into this. And I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. So if any of you watching speak Japanese and you can correct my pronunciation, please do, because I really don't know how to say it specifically, but it's kinsakuroi. And it is the idea that things are more beautiful for having been broken. The reason behind it, or the definition, comes from the idea of, like, if pottery breaks, it's actually mended back together with gold. And you guys, if you have not, like, Google this. It's so beautiful. Go through and just Google, like, pottery repaired with gold, or Google kinsakuroi, which I think is KINTSUKUROI, I think. Maybe there's multiple spellings. But Google it because it's stunning. And just the whole idea of something being even more beautiful for having been broken, that just really strikes me. That we don't have to toss it out. We don't have to get rid of it. We don't have to say, well, that sucks, and, you know, on to the next. We can actually, like, take the care and take the time to repair it and know that it's even more beautiful. Like, each crack, each mend tells a story. And if we can choose to use our own cracks, our own brokenness to help move other people forward, if we can choose to mend it with gold and be kind to ourselves as we're mending, you know, it's that growth and grace. That's where that comes from. It's so healing when we can choose to see each of those cracks, each of those breaks. You know, sometimes things break wide open, sometimes things crash and there's pieces all over. So it's not necessarily always just a clean, you know, one thing became two perfect halves that can be put back together. Sometimes it takes a little puzzle doing. And that's life though. It's messy. This whole breakable things break is an expression my grandpa used to say. He would say, breakable things break, and things with teeth and claws bite and scratch. And I love that because it's such a simple thing, but it's super true. Things with teeth and nails bite and scratch. So just don't be shocked if a breakable thing breaks. Know that that happens, but also know that there's ways to repair it, and there's beautiful ways to heal from it that's not disregarding that there's pain and brokenness there. Healing doesn't mean you just forget that you ever were hurt. It doesn't mean that you just scoot it under the rug. And Amy, thank you. I see that you just posted a link there. So everyone check out Amy's link that she posted for Kintsukuroi. It's so beautiful. Like, true healing doesn't mean you just sweep it under the rug and move on. It doesn't mean that you never talk about it again. It doesn't mean that, you know, you just pretend that it was fine and that it didn't really hurt and that you're good. Healing is messy and it hurts. And sometimes the healing process even is more painful than the original like break, because you're cleaning out the wound. You're digging it out. Like when they do kintsukuroi, it's you know, sometimes they have to like sand the edges before they can put it back together and pour the gold in there to really have it be a strong bond for it to heal properly, for it to really stay together once it's healed. So the reason I want to speak to this is because I think we're in a society so often, and this isn't always the case. I think it is often though, where you're encouraged to just move on, get over it, like, let's go. Or there's the other side of it, the whole Me Too movement, where it's like, just stay in the pain. And yes, that sucks that that happened. And I'm so mad and angry that that happened, but there's not movement through it. There's stuck. So it's finding that balance of acknowledging it happened and it sucked that it happened. There's no question that sucked that it happened. And oftentimes, and a lot of the Me Too movement is, you know, focused around things that they literally, there was no choice in the matter. Like, these women didn't choose to put themselves in that situation. And even if they made choices that got them into the situation, they didn't choose for those things to happen to them. So it's not a matter of poor choices that led to brokenness or hurt, but it's also not okay to stay there and just complain about it and just be miserable and angry about it. But you can't just not pretend that it didn't happen. So kintsukuroi to me is such a, Jenna, hi, oh my gosh, hi, I miss you. It's such a beautiful art form of really finding all the broken pieces. First of all, it's so you don't do kintsukuroi with just, you know, if it's shattered, you don't just get a few of the pieces and put it together. You find all the pieces. Sometimes you need to, you know, if you've ever dropped pottery, it's such a good example because it goes everywhere. And pottery smashes, right? Like, it breaks real good. It doesn't just crunch and like stay together like some glass pieces. It like smashes. So sometimes you have to go looking for that extra piece. Sometimes you have to go, you know, search under and look under the table, and, you know, it's scooted places. So you got to go find all the pieces, and then it takes some puzzle work to put it back together, and which piece goes where, and, you know, is it this side or this side? And it takes some doing. It takes time. It takes intention. It takes patience. Like, it's such a good representation of life when pain and brokenness happens in life. And then you got to make sure that you have the right tools for it, right? So this is where it's helpful to make sure you have the proper resources, the proper support system built in. Like, are you talking with someone? Are you working with a counselor or a therapist? Like, what has happened? What do you need to move through it and not stay stuck there? Do you have people in your life who are supporting you moving through it? Or do you have people in your life who are applauding your pain and your sorrow and your misery and saying, yeah, that's right, that sucks that that happened, and yeah, you should be angry and bitter and upset? And that's not helpful. That's actually keeping you stuck. That's not going to help you totally heal from and mend the brokenness. So if you have people like that in your life, I recommend not talking with them about this kind of stuff, not talking with them about the brokenness, because it's not helpful for people to applaud the pain and say, yes, keep staying in that. That's great. It's really helpful to have people who say, I understand, and that does suck that that happened. Let's get you through it so you're not still stuck there and letting the situation or that person who hurt you still maintain control over your life. That's not healthy. That's not healing. So as far as, you know, making sure you have the proper tools, it's looking around. It's do you have the, you know, do you have a nice surface where you can lay everything out on, a safe space to share what's going on in your life? Do you have the gold? Is it heated to the right temperature? Like, have you really been taking the time to process through things and speak things out, and you know, read books that are helpful, or listen to podcasts that are supportive, or, you know, go to groups that can help work through things like grief groups or something that can help you move through, so you're not just staying stuck. So it's really, you know, and then allowing that once it's repaired, once you've poured the gold into all the cracks and you put it back together and you glue's in place and like everything's back there, it's still fragile because it still needs to set, it needs to harden, it needs to like get formed now into its new, stronger self. And for those of you who, you know, if you've ever broken a bone, it's a really good example. Like if your bone, if it heals properly, you know, obviously there's all sorts of things that can go on with that, but if your bone heals properly, it's actually stronger than before you broke it. So the kintsukuro, like it can actually create more strength for having been broken. And it is so stunning when you look at these pottery pieces now that are gilded with gold, like filled in all these cracks, and each piece is different. When you go Google the image, they're all totally different. And each crack is, you know, different length, and some of them are really sharp and some of them are a little gentler. And my goodness, it's stunning. So recognize, like, allow that to be a reflection of your own beauty. And when you get through something and you choose to heal from something and you choose to show to the world, like, this is what I've healed from, but knowing that it's now, it's not in that fragile, ooh, it still needs to dry space. You've fully healed, and that's when you bring it to the world. So I had a mentor once who used to share things, and she would say, if when you're sharing a story or you're sharing a pain from the past with an audience or a group or whatnot, if it still like chokes you up and causes a reaction from it, like a visceral reaction from you, don't share it yet. It's because that tells you that you're not quite healed from it. So get the healing first, and then be able to share from a space of, I've actually overcome this, and here's what I learned. Here's what worked for me to help me get through it. And you know, use that as sort of a guide. So if you're really getting choked up about it, you might still be in that fragile, like you are healing, and that the pieces are in place, the gold is in place, it's setting now. It's getting secure, it's getting stronger. And then when you're in a spot where you can really share, like, yeah, it sucked that I went through that. I don't like going through pain. I don't enjoy it. And there's always something of benefit in going through it if you choose to find the lesson, if you choose to grow from it. And that's then when you can bring it to the world and say, you know, like, here's what I went through. And I look back at, you know, I share my story of depression a lot, which I've kind of been feeling lately to not be sharing it as much. Like, I'm kind of over it. That sounds a little bit weird, but I realized I was sort of becoming known for the girl who overcame depression. And I don't want to be that. I want to be known as a joyful person, as someone who inspires. So anyway, total tangent, but I just, like, I really want to encourage you to see your own beauty in what you're going through, and to recognize where you're at in that healing process, and take Kinsakuroi as an example, like really recognize, okay, I'm freshly broken, like this pain just happened or I'm currently going through it. And then where are you at when you're like you've collected all the pieces, now you're kind of aware of all the different hurts that you have, the wounds that need your attention and need your care. And then, you know, you lay all the pieces of pottery out on the table to start the puzzle. That's you, like where your safe spaces are, where you're sharing this with people who are going to help you with the puzzle, not people who are going to be like, wow, that's a really bad break. Not helpful. Those people, not helpful. So don't invite them to this. The table, when you're imagining all the pottery pieces on the table, that is your safe space where the healing starts. That's only for people who are going to help you heal and help move you through the pain, not for people who are going to help stick you there. Like, we don't want to glue the broken pieces to the table. That's not helpful. We want to glue the broken pieces back together. So we want people who are going to help with that process. And making sure that you have all the tools and resources around you and asking for support. It's not meant to be done on your own. Even if you could do it on your own, it's meant to be a journey. Life is a journey with other people. So let's loop them in, let's let them in, and let's know that, you know, this is an opportunity for you to be receiving. It's an opportunity for them to step into paying it forward. You know, someone has helped them along the way. This is their chance to help someone else. It's your opportunity to kind of store up, pay it forward points, if you want to think of it like that, so that, you know, when you've been receiving all this support, now you have so much energy and so much abundance to pour from, to pay it forward in a really big way. So if that helps for those of you who, like myself, sometimes struggle with receiving support, sometimes it helps to immediately turn it into, okay, I'm going to receive this so that I can give in a really big way. So I think that's a nugget for someone. Let that soak in. Like, let yourself shift into that so you can receive. Cool? And then, like, give yourself that that safe space to really heal. Once the pottery's back together, once the gold's in place, keep yourself steady. Like, that's not the time to be making huge life decisions. That's not the time to be making big transitions or huge shifts in your life. Keep a safe, steady spot. Maintain so that you can properly heal in place. Like, let it, if you picture, you know, I think of woodworking for this. When someone is working with wood and they're gluing the wood together, they glue the wood, they put the wood, they put the glue, they put the other piece of wood on it, and then they clamp it. And they leave it still and steady in the one spot until the glue is totally dried. They're not moving it around, they're not shifting it, they're not carrying it all over the place. They leave it clamped there. So it's the same thing, like, let yourself heal, let yourself create, put the pottery back together, get the pieces in place. And sometimes it's putting a piece in place and sealing it with glue and letting that piece sit and heal, and then gluing the next piece in and letting that sit and heal. Like, it doesn't necessarily all have to happen at the same time. So give yourself grace as you're growing through this, and know that breakable things break. And there's nothing wrong with you for having been broken. Like, it's not a bad thing that you've been broken or that you are broken right now. It's part of life. So see the beauty in it and allow yourself that grace as you're healing through it. So I just am so grateful for those of you who joined and you've been commenting. I'm seeing some comments over here. I really encourage you to go look up Kinsakuroi and like read about it. It's just a beautiful whole practice of healing and creating so much, like drawing out the beauty from the brokenness. It's so beautiful. So enjoy Googling that, and thank goodness for Google. And, you know, I would love to know if there's anything I can support with. Comment, you know, let us know what you're going through. This is such a beautiful community, so full of people who are for one another and wanting to build each other up. So this is a great community to get that support from. And just trust you're going to have an amazing evening. Thanks for jumping on early with me. I will not be on tomorrow morning, but I'll be back next week. So Thursdays at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. You can find me right here for Growth and Grace. Until then, have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.